Have you ever scrolled through Instagram and wondered how people are posting such sharp photos all the time? Well, today I'm going to be showing you how to achieve sharper photos for your photography. I'm going to split this into 3 categories, being settings, gear, and editing. My name is Will, also known as itizwil, and let's dive into the first tip. You want to have your shutter speed at 1/250th of a second or higher to ensure there's no motion blur in your shots, especially if you have moving components such as people or cars. A shutter speed this high will only allow a fraction of light to enter the camera, basically capturing a moment extremely fast, ultimately allowing you to shoot sharper photos. As for aperture, I like to vision that there is a sweet spot between f2.8 to f8 for the sharpest photos. Any higher than this, like f16 to f22, will introduce blur due to the effects of diffraction, and sometimes lower than this range can cause too thin of a focal field depending on what photos you're taking. The ISO has a quite simple rule across all cameras, being that you want to keep this as low as possible at all times. This will vary on different situations, but having an unnecessarily high ISO will introduce noise and soften your image. Although I'm a big advocate for not relying on gear all the time, investing in good glass will put you one step ahead in getting sharper photos. This means throwing away the kit lens. Prime lenses are known to be significantly sharper than zoom lenses just due to the amount of glass that's in the lens, and a bonus is that they're often cheaper than zoom lenses. This means you don't have to sell a kidney to get good glass. If you're a Canon shooter, I have the 35mm f1.8, which is a great lens, and it's also cheap. I'll put the link in the description down below. Another good piece of gear to make your photos sharper is a tripod. This is great for low light shots and landscapes, especially if you don't have a camera or lens that has stabilization already built in. This will allow you to take extremely steady shots at lower shutter speeds, removing any motion blur that could be in handheld shots. In terms of editing, I'm going to show you some tools to use that will sharpen your photos. I've got Adobe Lightroom here, which is the industry standard for photographers. I've already applied one of my presets and done some basic masking. To get sharper photos, you want to go to the Detail tab. Here you'll see sharpening, and what you want to do is slide that up so we can enable the other features. Next, you want to hold Option on your computer and go to the masking slider. As you can see, the further I drag this, the less of my image is highlighted in white. The white areas is what the sharpening tool is going to affect, and you want to make sure it's only highlighting the focal point of your photo, which in this case is me standing in front of the train. After this, you want to bring your sharpening up. I like to keep it around 100. You can then experiment with the radius and detail, the radius being the thickness of the affected highlighted areas, and the detail acting as some more clarity in your sharpness. The next thing you can do to make your photos even sharper is through masking. So we're going to go to the Mask tab and create a new mask, and what I highly recommend is doing this with the subject. And as we can see, we have our subject highlighted here, which is myself, and what I'm going to do to the sliders that affect this mask is change the clarity and the sharpness. As I bring the clarity up, you can see it adds a bit more contrast and definition to the subject. And make sure not to go over the top of this. Next, I can go to the sharpness and bring that up as well. Now that we're happy with our image, we can go ahead and export it. And the last tip comes into here with output sharpening. You want to make sure you tick this box next to sharpen for, and I set this to screen for Instagram posts and the amount to standard. You can go higher than this if you wanted to, but I find standard is the best medium. And there we go. We can see that our sharpened version of the image just has that little edge to it that makes it look sharper in your posts. And that's it. You now know how to make your photos look sharper. If you enjoyed, consider giving a like or a subscribe, or leave a comment down below if you had any other tips that you wanted to share. If you want to know the gear that I use, you can check that out in the description, or check out my preset pack, which is also linked there as well. But apart from that, I don't have anything else to say except enjoy.